Hello YouTube. I've got a 1999 Dodge Intrepid here, and it's got a funny little problem with the ignition switch. Let's see if I can get it to act up. Okay, so as you can see here, I don't have any fan, and here in just a second the airbag light will turn on. I think indicating that the airbag module is not getting any power. But if we jiggle the switch a little bit, you can hear the climate control turn on, and eventually this airbag light will turn off. Thankfully, it's a pretty simple problem to fix. Let's get to it. As with any repair involving the electrical system, we want to isolate the battery from the vehicle. So we're here at the jump start port, 15mm wrench, and we'll remove the negative battery cable from the vehicle. So you'll see there's a little hole here. Put the stud through it like that. It gives the cable a place to sit, and it isolates the battery from the vehicle. The next order of business is to remove the T30 here from the tilt lever, as well as two T15s from the bottom of the steering column. From here, the steering column shroud should be pretty easy to separate. We'll just push against the seams here, or maybe pry apart. So as you can see, the top half just came off. It's only held in with these little plastic snap clips, and then the bottom should come out. If you need to move the steering column, you can go ahead and pull the lever here to get you some access, like so. So from here, we need to move the multifunction switch out of the way. It is held in with two of these external torque screws, one down here and one up right here. You'll need an E-torque socket. It's just a inverted Torx to remove these two screws. They might be tight, so you might want to use a ratchet. Not too bad, but here's what the screw looks like. Here's the second one. Now, if we were going to be replacing the multifunction switch, we would just unplug all the electrical connectors here. Okay, so that just kind of gets things out of the way here, which reveals the ignition switch and its plug right here. So we'll go ahead and remove these two Torx fasteners, E4. Make sure your tool has a good purchase. That's kind of weird. This one wasn't all that tight. The tool I find kind of handy. It's a bit driver, or a socket, little 1/4-inch socket driver that's flexible. All right. So from here, we could just push the release tab right here at my thumb for the electrical connector and pull the ignition switch off. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this original part was made by SWF. Food for thought in case you're trying to find an original equipment type part. The one I'll be using today is made by Standard. Here's the part number. Just got this from my local auto parts store. It comes with the ignition switch, as well as two new E4 Torx screws. I do not recommend reusing the old ones. These things tend to snap. So quite literally, reverse of removal here. Let's see if I can. We just need to make sure to line this guy up with the equivalent keyhole on the switch, but for ease of installation, I'll go ahead and plug the electrical connector in now. We might have to turn the ignition switch, the key tumbler, to get everything to line up. I don't know if you saw that, but I got it to line up. I had to turn the key to the off position and then one position counterclockwise, which is the accessory position. I don't remember what the torque spec is on this, but they're really tiny screws, so just be reasonable. You're screwing into an aluminum housing here, and the switch is made out of plastic, so don't go crazy. If I find the torque specs, I will put them in the video description. So now that this is on tight, we'll go ahead and take the key, pull it out of the accessory position, and pull it out. And then reattach everything reverse of removal. So the multifunction switch kind of sits into place like this. And the two screws go in like so. I'll probably be replacing this in the future. It's kind of ugly looking. Still works. Okay, so multifunction switch is in place. We'll go ahead and put the steering column covers back in. I generally put these bottom screws in first. Then we can put this lever back on. And finally, the top cover. All right. So that's back together. We can go back to the engine compartment and put the negative terminal back on. Last order of business before we start the vehicle and make sure the new ignition switch works is to put the negative terminal back on. I generally leave the door open and have the keys readily accessible because on some of these vehicles, the alarm will go off. You need to have that remote ready to press so that you can disarm the alarm. All right. And sometimes it just honks the horn, kind of random. I'm not quite sure the rhyme or reason, but we'll go ahead and slam this thing home. So as you heard there, the horn beeped, but thankfully the alarm did not go off. Okay, snug. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if the ignition switch works. So checking all the positions here, we'll go ahead and start with the accessory position. The radio should turn on, which I don't know if you can see that, but the radio is on. So accessory position's working. Off position works, of course. So right away, the ignition switch worked. We got fan immediately. And I don't know if you can see, but the airbag light also clears. So there we go. Successful repair. So lastly, we'll set the time with a pen. We are done. If you are interested in any of the tools that I used for the video here, check out the video description, and from there you'll find links for the tools that I used in the video. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.